So I'm here today to talk about how you can make funnels on Outgrow, and particularly what we'll be looking at is a financial funnel. But as you go through the video, you'll realize the processes that I'm explaining you can use to make any kind of funnel from the entire directory of funnels that is listed in Outgrow. So before we go ahead and make a funnel in Outgrow, first we kind of need to understand what a funnel is. And as you can see in this little GIF here, that a funnel is basically a series of steps that your customer goes through on your website before he's converted into a client. And so obviously it involves various steps like awareness, interest, desire, and action. So anyway, let's go on to the Outgrow homepage, and from here you can see once you're logged in, all you need to do is just to head to outcome quiz and then click on select a template. And here on the left hand side you'd see a bunch of industries, but what you're actually looking for is funnels. So right here in the funnels, if you scroll down, you'd find a financial funnel. So you'd see actually two examples here. There'll be a financial funnel pre-made template, which just illustrates the basic skeleton of the funnel. And then there is an example of a financial funnel in the banking industry, and it's called "Are you eligible for a bank's credit card?" So before you go ahead and customize this funnel for your own industry, I think it's a good idea to actually go and check out a preview of both of these, the template as well as the example, so that you get a better idea of what you would like to do with a funnel for your own company. So let's open both of these so that I can show you what they are. So it's opening another tab, and this one as well. Great, so I think this is the financial funnel example for the banking industry, and as you can see, the user goes and answers a number of questions before his eligibility for a credit card can be determined. And there's also a lead generation form before he actually goes ahead and sees the result, so that you can, in case he doesn't like the result, or in case there are multiple results, then you can have the option of getting in touch with the user via this email that he entered in the lead gen. So there's this option here, and it comes completely, well, not in this case, he was obviously rejected, but in case it's a good outcome and it's something he wants to share on social media, there's an option for that. And obviously there's an option to follow your company's page and your company's Twitter through this funnels widgets as well. So this is the live example, but if you wanted to see the basic skeleton of the funnel template, you can also check out the template preview. And here you can see it's much easier to edit, because it gives you a better idea that you need to put the heading here, you need to put some kind of a button text here, and what exactly is happening in this funnel. One of the options leads to qualification, whereas the other leads to disqualification, and all that. So this would give you a fair idea of how you can customize this for your own industry. And this basically leads to the same thing, so I'd probably not explain it again. And once you've decided whether you actually want to start with the template, the blank template itself, or if you want to start with the the live example, is totally up to you, whatever you're comfortable with. Just go and click on use layout from here, and it'll open it directly in your builder. So I'm going to actually start with the funnel example, because I think it would be easier for me to explain it using that. So this is a financial funnel, and I'm going to click on use template from here, and you can also click it from the preview, as you could see the option there. So as you start working on the funnel, you can see there are all these options that pop out that help you understand what the builder is about. And so you can just take a quick glance and refresh your memory of what is placed where. So as you can see, the page can be edited from these options: manually generate, edit layout settings, and do remember to publish it. And if you're completely lost, then you can obviously get help from here. So if you click again, it's just going to lead you directly to the builder. And the easiest way to go about customizing anything on the builder is to just pay attention to this central screen here. So what this does is that, so for instance, if you want, this is basically the quiz. And now if you want to edit something in this quiz, say you want to edit this question here, all you need to do is just click here. And on the right hand side, it will immediately open up the corresponding edit toolbox. So you can just change the question directly from here. And similarly, for instance, if I wanted to change the title, I just click here, and that will directly open up the editable toolbox where you can edit the question, the title of the quiz and all that. So that's pretty simple. And if you want to edit the display, then you click on this little pencil here, and you can replace the image. You can put a GIF there, because GIFs are a lot of the audience finds GIFs more interactive. They're more entertaining. So you can put a GIF in the background if you want. And sometimes you might feel that, what happens is if you add a very intense image, the text is not visible properly. As you can see, the original image here used to look like this, and the text kind of wasn't so visible. So you can obviously either change the text color, or you can increase the tint of the image until the text is more visible. So that's what we've done here. And as you can see, you can also customize your logo. So currently we have the Outgrow logo here, but you can obviously upload your own logo, and you can also upload a logo that is animated, or again a GIF logo. So there's like a lot of GIF options here, so do try to use those. And once that is done, once you've kind of taken care of what you want the quiz to be about, and you have your quiz title figured out, you finally go to the you firstly go to the outcomes, and then you first plan all the outcomes you're going to have, because you know what the quiz is going to be about, you know what you're trying to sell. So what you really have in your hands is a certain amount of products. So you go and list all of them here. In this case, you can keep adding more outcomes from here, because for instance, if you were offering certain kinds of discounts based on your customer profile, so you can have an outcome for a 40% discount, you can have an outcome for a 30% discount, and so on and so forth. You can have multiple outcomes. And once you've listed those, also in the outcome section, because once the customer reaches the outcome, you want to make sure that all these widgets and all these subscribe buttons are present. So which these you can turn out for each option. So for instance, obviously, say in one of the options, for instance, this is when a customer qualifies for a silver card. But there's also an option here, I think, where the customer is disqualified. So when the customer is disqualified, you obviously don't want him to share that information on a widget on Facebook. So you can actually remove, for each outcome, you can remove the share widgets if necessary or not. So just remove this for this particular outcome, and for the other outcomes you can add them. So it's really up to you where you want to place these widgets, or if you want to place them at all. But if they were there, make sure that you customize what exactly is shared on the widget title and the widget description. So because when it is shared on Facebook, it's going to show people a thumbnail, and it's going to show people a description. And this, if it's a good description and it's a good title, it's going to lead to more shares. A kind of very grassroots virality is going to be generated on social media, and that's what you kind of are aiming for with interactive content. So that's what I think you should that's why I think you should take a good amount of time to figure out what you want to put in this description and in the title. And you can also have a particular social share image that goes up with it. It doesn't necessarily have to be the image that you've put in the quiz. You can upload another image that would show up in the thumbnails. So once you've taken care of the outcomes and you've added all the particular outcomes to your funnel, then you finally go ahead to the questions. And in the questions itself, as you can see, so for instance, for each option, you can map each option to a particular outcome, and the sum total of that would kind of lead to a particular outcome in the end. So that's that. And you might also want to add images to the question, so that you can do that by just clicking on the image here. So each option becomes an image, and all of these images can also be GIFs. So you just click here to kind of add a GIF if you want. And you can also have an icon if you don't want to put an image, you think it makes the quiz too heavy, then you can obviously use these little icons as well. It's totally up to you. I mean, like, depends on the kind of look you're going for. So there's that, or you can just leave it to a text options. So after that, you can also remember for the question title itself, you can also add an image. So not only for the question options, but also for the question title, it can go ahead with an image or with a video. So if you wanted your customers to look at a particular video before answering the question and the options, then you can obviously put a video there. And that's that. And within the questions itself, you have, for instance, here you can see we put a numerical slider, because if you just give multiple choice answers, people tend to get bored after a while. So if it's got something to do with numbers or something else, then try to use these, I don't know, 8 to 10 different question types that we have here. Single select, multi-select is pretty uh, common. Then there's drop down, which I think, multi-select kind of, or single select kind of establishes that, but you can also have a drop down menu from which a user can select something. Then there's the option to text input, because if you want certain data from some kind of data from your clients, then you can have like a place for that here. So after this, you have a text area, which is like, which is much bigger. So for instance, this is usually used when someone has to enter a detailed feedback and you asked it for them, and they enter like paragraph upon paragraph, and so it's for that. And once that is done, the numerical slider you've already seen, and opinion scale you can use to have someone rate how much they like using your software, or how likely are they to do business with you again, or for something like that. And rating is kind of similar to an opinion scale, but this is really for feedback, as you can see, whereas the opinion scale can be used for other things as well. And finally, a date time picker, which would be more this would be used in forms that people are filling up for, like for instance a credit card form which you design in Outgrow. You can have people pick their dates and times. So there's that. And finally there's a file upload. So in the case of a credit card score funnel, you can obviously have an option where you're asking the user to upload their bank statement. So as you can see, there's like 5 options of kind of files that can be uploaded, and you can just check all of them. So you can directly ask your users to like upload their bank statements so that someone in your company can take a look at them and figure out whether they are eligible for a credit card or not. So that kind of covers all the questions. And once you've figured out all the questions and outcomes and the welcome page, you can finally go ahead to check the mobile view. So do always give this a look, because a lot of users tend to take quizzes and calculators on mobiles while they're on the go. So this is really helpful for them if you've kind of optimized it for mobile. So once you've done that, you go ahead to the configure section right here. And in this section, you'd notice that you can change the name of the quiz and the URL of the quiz itself. You can enter something, and something that you think sounds better than just some normal random digits. So there's that. And then in the SEO settings, we'd already talked about this earlier, how this is going to show how your quiz is going to show up on a Facebook share. So there's usually going to be an image here, some title text here, and title text and a description here. So do try to add some kind of a description, because people do, after reading the title, they want to read, if they're interested, they do want to read a little bit more before they actually go ahead and click on this and take your quiz. So do give this a certain amount of time, and always allow search engines to index and follow if you are making this quiz for the public, so that your quiz does rise up in the ranks in Google and other search engines. And finally, in email notifications, do trigger on, I mean, it depends on whether you need this function or not, but it's always nice to have a follow-up email with everyone, an automatic follow-up email with everyone who takes the quiz. So you can enter your ID from which you want to send the email to everyone who takes the quiz, and you can add a subject here. And in the message section here, you'd see there's the option to add a lot of variables, and these are all collected from the quiz. So for instance, a full name, email, these users would have entered in the quiz, and sorry, the funnel, and you can just directly import it here. So to every individual client, it will send a different, based on what the data they entered. And you can really personalize this, because there's the option to add, like, the answer to question number 4 And so you can construct a sentence that includes the answer to question number 4 inside it grammatically, so that the client thinks that you're actually specifically talking to them, that it's a very personalized email. And so there's like a lot of option for such kind of personalizations and customization once you play around with this. So do give this a look and try it out. And so that's the first email notification option. The second option is a notification, an email notification to self. So what that means is that if you have like a lot of clients taking the quiz and you want someone on your team to keep track of how these questions were answered and who took the quiz, and you want to keep track of certain clients, and you want to get in touch with them. So what this can do is that if you trigger it on, it's going to send an email automatically to a member of your team. And once they have that email, within the subject, it says, new lead from this particular quiz or calculator. And within it, it says you can keep adding as many variables again. So all the data that is collected can be sent to a particular member of your team who can then look at it and then make decisions for following up based on that. So after this, there's also the option to integrate your quiz results and quiz data with any of our partners here. So you can actually push all the data to any of these marketing softwares and to achieve your marketing goals depending on what they are and which software they're most aligned with. So you can do all of that, and then once you've done all the configuration and the build, and I actually forgot to show you the lead generation form, which is right here. So in the lead generation, as you can see, we have put an option for name and email, but in addition to that, you can have all sorts of options like a phone number if that is more important for you, or the location of the person if that's more important to you. So you can just choose whichever one you think is of priority to you. And you can also choose where you want to put the lead generation form, at the welcome screen, after the questions, before the questions, with the results, whichever one you think works the best for you. And you can also turn off the lead generation form if you don't think you need it. And within that, the lead generation form, you can also have this checkbox that you can have, with which you take the user's consent to process their data, etc., or their consent for you to send them an email or to subscribe them to your list. So it's really up to you how far you want to take the lead generation page to. And so once you've done all of this, make sure you go ahead and publish the funnel or quiz or calculator. And once that's done, this is the shareable link that you can go ahead and post in your social media or email to your clients. So once you have like a decent amount of data, you can actually check how many total visitors visited this particular quiz that you made, or the number of people who started the experience but didn't actually finish it, the number of people who actually registered their email, and then you can see a conversion rate. And here you can see the number of people who shared it on social media or clicked through to your website through your logo from that particular quiz. And you can see it'll also plot it through date and time, and you'd see the engagements through that, and you'll see the top geographies, devices, traffic sources, and what kind of browser people used. And as you can see here, now based on this kind of data, you can again go ahead and optimize your funnel. So for instance, if people in Canada were taking your quiz a lot, then you can go ahead and make it more personalized for Canadians. Include specific questions about Canadian finance, for instance. So you could go ahead and do that. And if you figure out more people are taking your quiz on the mobile, then you can go ahead and optimize the mobile view even more. So again, it's really up to you how much you look at the data and then go back and update your quiz. So once you've taken a look at the data, there's also the option to look at the user details. Now here you'd have like a list of, these are all like test accounts, but in general you'd have like a huge list of dates at which a particular person took the thing, and the name of the person, email, location, and the number of engagements he made, the questions, how many questions he answered, where he visited from, on what date, source, and whether he redid the quiz as well. And if you click on this little box, you can also see how he answered every single question. So as you can see, once you have all this data, you can also, what you can do with it is you can directly export it to an Excel, machine readable Excel format, and it will directly send the data to you in your email. And what you can also do is you can segment all this data by a particular time. So if you want to just like see how much of it was collected in over 4 days, these 4 particular days, then you can just click apply, and then you can again send this particular Excel to your yourself or to someone on your team. And these are obviously, we again differentiate between leads and visits. Leads is obviously the people who entered their email and they count as leads, whereas visits is everyone who entered the quiz and might not necessarily have finished it, but or may have finished it halfway, or just decided to skip the lead generation form. So you can even export all this data because it still collects, location and other such data, and you can just like directly export it to a machine readable format in Excel. So that's about it. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section below. And you can also email us at questions@outgrow.co. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more marketing related updates. Thank you.